Hi, my name is Eldur Ólafsson, the CEO of AEX Gold, soon to be called Amarok Gold. Today, I'm going to be speaking with you about our most recent transaction in AEX. But first, as a background, AEX, as you can see on the screen here, owns more than 7,000 square kilometers of strategic mineral licenses and gold licenses. Those licenses, they sit on one hand in the gold belt that goes from the town of Nanortalik all the way through eastern Greenland. So this is about 200-kilometer long gold belt, and it's about 50-kilometer wide. This gold belt is very much has the similarities to what we find in Newfoundland and then crosses over to Scandinavia. Then we have the strategic mineral belt that goes perpendicular on the gold belt. It goes through here. And this strategic mineral belt, through our mineral system modeling, we have defined as something that is starting in Labrador. So the big world-class deposit in Boise Bay of nickel, it is essentially on this side in Labrador. This belt goes through here, goes to the Gardar belt in Greenland, where you have the big rare earth place. So in Narsaq and Tanbreez and Motzfeldt, these are all huge rare earth deposits that are situated next to our towns here. And then it goes all the way through here into Kirununa in Scandinavia. So it's a known fault line. For us, what we have been doing is that our key focus, since we got listed in London, was to focus on developing the Nalak mine, utilize the operator status, the first concept of building a mine there within the next 2 years, to support exploration in finding world-class deposit or elephant-style deposits. And what we have done now is that we have been focused on gold, and that's where our capital has lied, but we hadn't had sufficient enough of capital to follow up all of our exploration in this fault line, hugely prospective. So we have partnered up with a group called ACAM, and ACAM is owned by Lewis Bacon and Tim Leslie. Lewis Bacon is founder of More Capital, highly successful investor in the commodity space and macro investor in general. It is likely that there will be a wider group participating in this investment. The investment itself is upfront investment is 18 million sterling, or about 30 million Canadian dollars. And the focus is for us, and we're giving up, I should say, 49% stake for that. The focus for us is that we will utilize this investment over the next 3 years to explore and develop maiden resource in a minimum 3 targets that we have. The priority targets that we have is Sava, which is a copper, IOCG copper plate, similar to what you find in Attic in Sweden, or the most well-known IOCG deposit in the world is Olympic Dam in Australia. That's what we're trying to find here. Then we have Stendalen, which is a big intrusion on this fault line. There we have more than 20-meter outcrop of titanium and vanadium. So very sizable target there of titanium and vanadium. But more interestingly, there is also a potential for nickel, cobalt, and PGE within that intrusion. And that's what we'll be focusing most on there. Last but not least is the Pattersock rare earth play. Pattersock sits on the other side, so this is the Gardar fault zone. It sits on the other side of the ice sheet, and it's a big intrusion. Has all of the same similarities to what you find in the Tanbreez and Kvanefjeld and so on, and that we intend to explore on surface. There are zirconium anomalies and all of these different elements that you want to find. So these 3 areas all have the potential to be world-class deposit. Unrisked value there is in billions of dollars, but that's 18 million sterling or 30 million Canadian. It's going to allow us to do the groundwork, geophysics, initial targeting, and then initial maiden resource drilling fully. When we are successful, we also have lined up a further capital investment of 10 million pro rata between the 2 parties to be able to further develop any of these deposits in the area. Once we've been developing all of this and doing all of this exploration, we will obviously be moving Nalunaq, our gold mine, into production. And therefore, once we need to start developing these areas into development state, then we have a cash flow producing asset to support that. And a little bit towards that, why is it so important? On the one hand, like what does AEX bring to the table? Well, we have a fantastically strong team and a board that have been doing this work in South Greenland for the past 8 years. So the management and understanding of the geology and how to operate is exceptional. We put in investment in Nalunaq into 50 people camp, and cranes, excavators, LVs, 4 drill rigs, helicopter contract, good communication with the local contractor, boat companies, etc., etc. So we can hit the ground running, and we are running this camp. It's open all year round. Because here in South Greenland, as we mentioned, this is ice-free all year round in a way that the fjords don't freeze off. It is, similar winters as you would have in Reykjavik, Iceland, where I'm from. So from essentially January to end of March. And obviously the most important thing geologically is extremely prospective and good. So what this investment will allow us, it aligns us with extremely strong investors in the commodity space who understand the macro picture really well when it comes to the strategic minerals and hard asset value. And therefore we are extremely grateful beginning this partnership, and also very excited because this capital will allow us to create value over the long run, which is obviously much greater than our upfront value of 18 million sterling, which have not been accounted for in our share price. Our key thing here is that we have now the means and efforts to be able to do the work on all of these different deposits and bring them to a resource stage to help the world, especially the Western world, supply critical minerals to the market where we need them the most in an environmentally sound way. And on that note as well, I think why Nalunaq is so important, and why it's important also to this venture, is that Nalunaq becomes the concept mine where we use green energy to mine gold and strategic minerals. Once these minerals have been mined and discovered the next 30-40 years, then the communities there are left with green energy, hydro, wind, and solar. They can be used for their own benefit and or to recycle minerals at that point in time. And this is one of the key elements of what AEX and soon to be Amaroq Minerals is all about, is to find a path to as sustainable mining as possible, which both off-takers, companies, governments, people in the Arctic, people in the Western world, which are focused on maintaining the right element of political stability and democracy, want to have in how and want to know and have when they are supplying the minerals. So we are extremely excited. We'll be telling you more and more about the work on this area. We have actually started work on Sava, so we'll be excited very soon to bring initial results of the exploration program there, and also North Sava to the market. And we've started drilling in Nalunaq, and we'll be starting drilling in Vagar very soon. So all of this goes very, very hand in hand together and allows our investor to get an exposure to huge amount of value that has already been proven in Greenland through the Gardar rare earth base, and we will be extending our exploration program, a fully funded exploration program over the next 4 years. Thank you very much.